Hi, and thank you for joining me for the Foster Care Data Mini Webinar. I'm Jackie Jacobson, the State Foster Care Point of Contact. Children in foster care certainly fall within all components of the Best for All paradigm: academics, student readiness, and educators. And today we're going to talk about coding foster students, DCS educational placements, and some suggestions to improve data quality. Along the way, we'll look at some scenarios to test your knowledge of all of these pieces. First of all, please remember that the Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA, requires that states, LEAs, and child welfare agencies collaborate to promote the best interest of foster children, including prioritizing enrollment in their school of origin, immediately enrolling in another school if the school of origin is not in their best interest, immediately transferring academic and other records, and developing procedures to provide and fund transportation. Foster care is defined in statute as 24-hour substitute care for children placed away from their parents or guardians and for whom the Child Welfare Agency, in our case, the Department of Children's Services, has placement care and responsibility for the child. Foster students are listed on a monthly report from DCS that the department sends to the LEA School Nutrition Department. If a child you expect to see on the DCS foster care list is not on the school nutrition list, please check for an education passport. If that documentation exists, the foster status is confirmed. If you are uncertain about the child's foster care status, after checking the DCS foster care list and searching for an educational passport, we encourage you to call your regional DCS education specialist and ask the child's status. You may also connect with your LEA foster care point of contact. Sometimes children in foster care are eligible in dual statuses. Students with foster care status due to a DCS placement who also qualify as homeless under the McKinney-Vento definition are dually eligible for both foster care and homeless status and services. Sometimes students with foster care status in a DCS placement also qualify as runaway, and they are dual eligible for foster care and runaway status and services. This most likely occurs when a student in foster care elopes or runs away from their foster home placement. There's another unique situation that you may encounter with foster care students. When students are in the custody of DCS and have been placed in a juvenile detention center, they are in foster care and are coded with FOSO1 foster care and J-Direct certification, in addition to the JDC 01 through JDC 17 Juvenile Detention Center student classification. As I just mentioned, FOSO1 foster care is used only for students on the DCS foster care list. J-Direct certification of economic disadvantage also is included for students on the DCS foster care list because they are part of the economically disadvantaged subgroup and are coded then with J-Direct certification of economic disadvantage, in addition to the FOSO1 foster care student classification, because these students are categorically eligible for free school meals due to their foster care status. For accountability, assessment, and state funding, The economically disadvantaged subgroup consists of students eligible for free school meals due to the J-Direct certification of economic disadvantage as participants in federal, state income nutrition programs such as TANF or SNAP, or they are categorically eligible through their status as FOS01 foster care, H homeless, I migrant, or U runaway. Once a student enters foster care, the status applies for the remainder of the school year. Please code students with the FOS01 foster care and J-Direct Cert student classifications in all enrollments for the remainder of the school year, regardless of changes in foster care status. And here's your first scenario. We have a student who has been removed from his or her family and placed in a foster home in the custody of DCS. The student is still enrolled in the school of origin. What codes should you use? A, no changes. Enrollment information stays the same because the student has not moved to another LEA. B, code the student as FOS01 foster care and J-Direct Cert. Or C, enter withdrawal code 02, placed in the custody of the Department of Children's Services to be educated in a youth development center or DCS affiliated school. If you answered B, you are correct. FOS01 foster care and J-Direct Cert. Why? The student is entering foster care and remaining in the LEA. Therefore, he or she should be coded as FOS01 foster care and J-Direct Cert. Let's look at another scenario. Here, we have a student who is attending school at one of our elementary schools in Volunteer County. The court, independent of DCS, has granted the student's grandmother custody and placed the student with her until things are more stable at home. There is an open DCS case on the student. The grandmother lives in Simpson County. How should you code and move forward with this student? A, Volunteer County should code the student as FOS01 foster care and J-Direct Cert. B, Volunteer County should withdraw the student and the student should enroll with Simpson County as a standard enrollment. Or C, Simpson County should enroll the student and code as FOS01 foster care and J-Direct Cert. If you answered B, you got it right. Volunteer County should withdraw the student and the student should enroll with Simpson County as a standard enrollment. Why is that? The student's placement was not made by DCS. Therefore, his or her placement does not meet the federal definition of a child in foster care. The move to another LEA should be treated the same as any other student relocating from one LEA to another. To check your data in EIS, log in as a district or school user. Then select Data Reports, Research Queries. Select the Student Classifications Research Query and select the year, entering 2023 for the 2023-24 school year. Then select Student Classifications and the Foster Care FOS01 Student Classification. To run the query, select View Report. To download in CSV or Excel format, use the file icon to the right of Find Next. The research query results include a record for each student flagged with the FOSO1 foster care student classification. School and student identifiers are on the left. The FOSO1 foster care student classification is on the right. Let's talk about DCS educational placements. DCS approves in-house educational programs in their Level 3 and Level 4 programs, as well as some Level 2 programs. If a student is attending an in-house school at a DCS educational placement, he or she should be withdrawn from the LEA using withdrawal code O2, placed in the custody of the Department of Children's Services to be educated in a Youth Development Center or DCS affiliated school. DCS is considered an LEA. When a student is placed by DCS and is attending a DCS in-house school, DCS becomes the LEA for the child. Not all DCS placements have an in-house DCS approved school. Examples include foster care placements, juvenile detention centers, and some Level 2 group homes. Students in the custody of DCS who are placed in a program or home without a DCS in-house school should attend the public school for which the foster family, group home, or program is zoned. These students are considered to be in foster care, are on the DCS foster care list that the school nutrition department receives, and should be coded as FOSO1 foster care and J-Direct Cert. I know you were missing those scenarios, so here we have another one. We have a student, Jacqueline, who was recently placed in DCS custody. DCS placed her at Simpson Academy, which operates a DCS-approved in-house school in Simpson County. Should you withdraw the student? A, yes, withdraw Jacqueline using withdrawal code O2 for students withdrawn to DCS educational placements. B, keep Jacqueline enrolled and code her with the K-in student classification for students placed in an in-state residential facility. Or C, yes, withdraw Jacqueline so that she can enroll in Simpson County schools. If you answered A, you were correct. Yes, withdraw Jacqueline using withdrawal code O2 for students withdrawn to DCS educational placements. Why is that? She's placed by DCS in a DCS contract placement that contains an approved affiliated in-house school. Therefore, she should be withdrawn from the LEA using withdrawal code O2, withdrawn to DCS educational placement. DCS will now serve as the LEA for the student. Let's do another one. Here we have a student named Martin in Home County Schools. He was recently placed in the custody of DCS, and DCS placed him in a Level 2 group home in Lyon County. The group home does not have an in-house school. What should you do? A, keep Martin enrolled in Home County Schools and code him as FOSO1 foster care. B, Home County withdraws Martin using withdrawal code O3 transferred to other Tennessee school system, and Lyon County enrolls Martin, coding him as FOSO1 foster care and J-Direct Cert. Or C, withdraw Martin to DCS custody using withdrawal code O2. And the answer again is B. Home County withdraws Martin using withdrawal code O3 transferred to other Tennessee school system, and Lyon County enrolls Martin and codes him as FOS01 foster care and JDirect CERT. Why? Martin is placed in the custody of DCS, but then is placed in a setting that does not contain an in-house DCS affiliated school. His placement should be considered a foster care placement, and he should be coded as FOS01 foster care and JDirect CERT. Since his school of origin was a significant ways away from his new home, a bid meeting was held, and the LEA and DCS determined that it's in his best interest to attend school in Lyon County. Therefore, Lyon County should immediately enroll Martin and code him as FOS01 foster care and JDirect CERT. Just a few points and suggestions to improve your data quality. We really recommend that you regularly collaborate with attendance, EIS, federal programs, and other colleagues to ensure that your data are coded properly. Frequently check your data in your student information system and EIS and upload revisions as needed. We also suggest that you work with your LEA foster care point of contact. For any additional information, please refer to the FPO Data Manual. Thank you so much for taking the time today to listen to our Data Mini webinar on foster care coding. If you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at jackie.jacobson@tn.gov. If you have specific questions about the coding or your data, please contact Trish Kelly, the FPO Data Manager, at trish.kelly@tn.gov. And for any EIS errors and restaging problems, please contact the District Technology Support Team at dt.support@tn.gov. And as always, if you suspect fraud, waste, or abuse, you can contact this number or this email. Thank you so much again. We appreciate your attention.